Hello everyone, we're gonna start with conference number 11, how to manufacture soul and spirit. We're gonna learn what is soul, what is spirit, and how to create them. So the soul is a set of virtues, powers, faculties, and forces that right now are slept but that are going to awaken with our spiritual work and are going to be condensed in our spinal cord through the practice of the suprasex or the rising of the kundalini. So we are going to explore the different components of our soul. First of all, the virtues. The virtues are trapped in our psychological flaws. For example, I learned that patience is trapped inside anger because I know that I get angry when I get frustrated, when things don't end up the way I wanted, when people don't act the way I want. So I learn how to discover wisdom out of evil, light out of darkness, and that with each one of my psychological flaws. I know that selfishness had the virtue of generosity trapped inside, and I'm going to explore in which circumstances I get selfish, why, and what are the behaviors that I adopt when I get selfish. And I'm going to explore what are the virtues that I have inside of myself. So the powers are going to come out when we create and regenerate our existential bodies. So I'm going to skip this part and I'm going to show you with the image that with the regeneration of the physical body, we are going to be able to govern the intelligences of the element earth that are the gnomes and the pygmies of earth. With the regeneration of the vital body, we are going to be able to communicate with the soul of the water that are the undines and the wraiths. With the creation of the astral body, we are going to govern the salamanders of fire and be able to travel to planets, different galaxies, and to the fifth dimension. With the creation of the mental body, we're going to have the power of communicating with the sylphs and sylphids of the element air and obtaining wisdom out of them. And with the creation of the causal body, we are going to be able of creating, regenerating ourselves, and being able to govern all the elements of nature. Now let's talk about the faculties. The faculties are psychic abilities that are going to help us in the spiritual work, that are going to obey our being, the power of justice, wisdom, and love, and that are going to help us in the purpose of serving mankind. The faculties are going to be handled by our being, not by us. And are going to come out in the moment in which our being decides to awaken them. For example, the faculty of polyvoyance, that is the ability to listen to all the points of view in the universe at the same time, the power of the clairvoyance, the faculty that is hearing in different dimensions, the power of the magic ear, that is the faculty of hearing what people are saying about us, the power of the telepathy, that is knowing what people are thinking, the power of the intuition, that is to listen to our heart and know with the wisdom of our being how to act in certain moment, the faculty of communicating with the elementals, that are the intelligences in the vegetable kingdom, of communicating with the anima, that are the intelligences of the animal kingdom, the power of the telemetry, that is being able to measure the causes and consequences of our actions and measuring distances, and a lot of faculties and psychic abilities that are going to come out during our spiritual work. Also the forces. We think we are weak, but we don't know the force that is inside of us. We have the force of 1,000 men. For example, when we study the effect of the alcoholism of partying, we know that we could stay awakened a whole night through. But if we use that force for the conscience, we could stay up the whole night, but meditating, doing astral projections, and getting in touch with our spiritual part. So those virtues, powers, faculties, and forces are going to come out during the creation of our soul. So how to start to create the soul? Through the psychological death, that is rescuing wisdom out of evil, exploring our inner darkness and knowing why do we get angry in certain situations, what triggers our lust, what triggers our need to obtaining revenge, our different psychological aggregates, and disintegrated with the power of our Divine Mother. So if I notice that I get tense in different situations, I tell my Divine Mother, Divine Mother, eliminate me this tension. And that essence is going to be liberated in order to create ourselves. So the spiritual birth, that essence that we liberate from a psychological flow, is going to be condensed in our spinal cord with the sexual transmutation. That is a sexual practice without fornication, in which we are going to take our sexual creative energy, value it, and with a stable couple of our opposite sex, our husband or wife, we are going to do the sexual transmutation and ascend that fire through our spinal cord. And the sacrifice for mankind, that is uninterestedly helping mankind to connect with their being, just informing them how can they practice a spiritual awakening through the 3 factors of the revolution of conscience without expecting anything in return. So let's talk about the steps to create a human soul. First of all is receiving the objective knowledge, that is knowing why we came to this existence. Not only do we come to this existence just to accumulate wealth, just to having a status, social recognition, a lot of diplomas, a lot of status. No, there is a transcendental objective, that is creating ourselves. And when we receive this knowledge, it opens a path. Not all people get to receive this kind of spiritual knowledge. Out of 1,000 that seeks, only one finds it. Then the second step is to practice the 3 factors for the revolution of the conscience, to start eliminating your flaws, studying yourself, denying yourself the force of ego in order for the conscience to act, getting in touch with yourself enough for your being to reveal which is your couple, in order that you can start the spiritual birth and the sexual transmutation, and practicing the sacrifice for mankind, offering this information uninterestedly so people can get in touch with their spiritual part. So the third step will be for the creation of our soul, to balance the centers and saving our energy. That we are going to do it with self-observation. And it's curious because of the 1,000 who find me, only one follows me. Only few people start really self-observing themselves. achieving the right thinking. Why am I thinking that I want to get even? What I am feeling resentment? What I am acting the way I want? Excluding that person, insulting that person. For example, in the right talking trash about that person. So if I self-observe myself, I can eliminate all the actions, thoughts, feelings that are guided by the negative force of ego, and I can achieve what is fair, what is truthful, and what is useful. And I can correct my behaviors in order to save emotional energy, save instinctive energy, save my sexual energy, my mental energy, and with that energy I'm gonna be able to start a creation. The next step is going to be achieving a couple of the opposite sex and start working in the spiritual birth. Start doing the creation of the superior existential bodies of our being. So in this following step, once you obtain your couple, it's only to a point that you're going to practice your spiritual birth, in which you're going to achieve purity in the sexual aspect. When you study the ego of fornication and you understand and you achieve the chastity. So the following step will be achieving the sword. The sword is going to be a symbol in the astral plane that is going to indicate that you lighten up the fire, that you awaken the kundalini of fire, and that you're working in the initiation of the mysteries of your being, that you are regenerating and creating your bodies, that you began the path. So each initiation begins in the middle of the two centers and ends in the middle of the two centers, as you can see in the following image. So the regeneration of the physical body will be the first ascending of the kundalini, the regeneration of the vital body, then the creation of the astral body, the creation of the mental body, and the creation of the causal body. At this point, it's going to be applied the sentence of the 1,000 who follow me, one is mine. When the person decides for the direct path, the direct path is following the creation of the causal body and uniting with your being, achieving the union with your spiritual part, and not having fear of the difficulties of the direct path. Most people choose the path of the nirvana. The nirvana is betraying your inner Christ. So if you choose the direct path, you're going to continue with the creation of your spirit. If you don't choose the direct path, but you choose the nirvana, you obtain your human soul, but you stop there. You don't unite with your spiritual part, and you don't get to create your spirit. So if you choose the direct path, you're going to reunite with your buddhic body and atmic body, and you're going to start creating what is your spirit. So how to fabricate the spirit? So there are two components that unite in order to fabricate the spirit. That is your human soul, that is the force of manas, the electrical part of your spiritual energy, and the magnetic part of your spiritual energy, that is Buddhi, that is the divine soul. They reunite when you choose the direct path. And the second triad is form, that is Buddhi, Manas, and then Atman, that is the principle of light or your intimate, the force of your being. So this is the spirit, the second triad. And well, we're going to learn that the creation of the 5 solar bodies, the regeneration of the physical body, the regeneration of the vital body, the creation of the astral body, the creation of the mental body, and the creation of the causal body is what we call the first mountain, that is the Genesis. But the fabrication of the spirit is the second mountain, in which the 7 churches are going to be opened and the 7 wisdoms of your being are going to manifest. And the person that chooses this path of the second mountain is going to eliminate the 7 causal egos, or eliminate ego from the roots. So let's answer different questions that can come out from this conference. First of all, how long does it take to create a body? If you work with a lot of energy and you're serious in your work, you can create a body in about 2.5 years. How long does it take to create a soul? If you work firmly in your objectives, about 13 years. How do we know that the work has already started? In your inner world, in the astral projection, you receive a little sword with white hilt. That means that you are initiated in the White Lodge and you're starting to regenerate your physical body. You started the first mountain, that is the mountain of the Genesis. Is it possible to create the bodies without a partner? No. We need to achieve a couple from our opposite sex, our husband or wife, with whom we're going to work in the sexual aspect firmly, constantly, and we're going to achieve fidelity, chastity, and love. That way we can ascend the Kundalini of fire. It's the only way. Is it possible to create a soul being castrated? No. To castrate ourselves and to do procedures of violence against our sexual apparatus is a crime against Holy Spirit, is a crime against our sexual energy, and our temple. Our physical body is the temple of our sexual creative energy. So that is doing violence to ourselves, mutilating our sexual apparatus. So we need to reconnect ourselves, regenerate that. If you did a vasectomy or if you did any procedure, you need to be reconnected and reverse that procedure in order for your sexual apparatus to work properly for sexual transmutation. So if you are castrated, you cannot start the creation in the process of the spiritual birth. How much time does it take for the second mountain to be done? Then initiate is going to be given 1,000 years with physical body to do the second mountain. But the second mountain can also be done in about 20 years. Why is it that of 1,000 people that seek the secret path, just one can find it? Because of the karma. Many people has had this knowledge and just forgotten about it, just not giving the value to this knowledge and avoid practicing it, forgot about it. Other people have betrayed the Divine Mother. Other people have committed crimes against the Holy Spirit, against nature, and they have lost the possibility, because of the law of karma, to obtain the knowledge in this existence. Why is it that of 1,000 people that find it, just one person follows it? Because even though we know what we need to do, that we need to practice, that we need to connect with our being through meditation, through the 3 factors of the revolution of conscience, there is the ego of sloth, of laziness. We are just lazy of doing things. We just settle for hearing the conferences. We don't get to practice the astral projection, practice the meditation. We just are really passive and don't do the effort of resisting our ego, or denying ourselves in a moment in which we are angry. We don't do an effort of denying that destructive force of ego. Also, we don't do the effort of just practicing, achieving the force in order to come out of the entropy. And what is that force? Well, sacrifice for mankind is going to give us the force, because if we help others, we have an incredible force. The forces of different beings are helping us doing this job. So if we would be less selfish than we are and sacrifice, we could achieve the power of advancing in this spiritual work really fast. Why is it that of 1,000 people that follow this secret path, just one achieves the self-realization? Because 999 people are tempted by the Lucifer. Lucifer is the light and fire that is trapped in the desire. If you don't defeat your desire, if you have a lot of pleasure in doing things that are not the force of the conscience but the force of ego, and that you don't do the effort of denying to that, well, it's going to be really difficult when you get to the choice of the direct path. You're not going to have the force to resist your greatest pleasures, and also because of the fear that the person has to pay the karma of the different 7 existences that one has lived. So the difficulties of the direct path make the person hesitate and take the path of the nirvana. So this is the conference. I hope that you enjoy it and could learn a lot of it for your spiritual work. Thank you very much and have a good night. Bye.